A lot of Marvel news broke over this weekend. We have a lot of actors talking about Avengers Doomsday and just how big this movie is going to be. We have some crazy new Spider-Man Brand New Day updates, and Tobey Maguire has been spotted in London, making people wonder, is he filming for Avengers Doomsday or possibly for Spider-Man Brand New Day? And if it is for Spider-Man Brand New Day, I think it gives us a pretty big hint about who Sadie Sink's mysterious character could actually be in the movie. This could give us a pretty great sign. And also, on top of all the reports that Chris Evans has returned for Avengers Doomsday and has already shot some scenes, we have another really big hint that he has returned. So a ton of awesome things to break down today. We'll start with Avengers Doomsday and what some actors have been saying about this movie, because if you thought that this movie wasn't going to be huge, it is. It's going to be massive. I know a lot of people have been kind of discouraged because Phase 4, 5, and 6 didn't really work out the way Marvel or the fans really wanted it to, and that's quite understandable. And some people might have thought that since Marvel switched up all their plans pretty far into the multiverse saga and there hasn't been that much buildup, Avengers Doomsday might not be that big, but that is not the case according to many of the actors. And much like Spider-Man Brand New Day is filming very practically, it sounds like Avengers Doomsday is doing the same, which is great. Now, David Harbour, who plays the Red Guardian, calls Doomsday extraordinary, and he talks about what it was like to be there on set, and he talks about how big this movie is going to be. And for those who are kind of doubting that Avengers Doomsday is going to be good, it sounds like David Harbour was on kind of the same page that you were. This is what he just said to Screen Rant. He states, "I was not even convinced when we started, and this movie's gonna be really good. They have a special sauce. I don't even really understand, but they, the Russo brothers, just know how to do these things." And I think that as evidence in Civil War, as evidence in Infinity War, there's something about the layers in which they put the comedy and the drama and the surprises and the scale and the epicness and all that stuff. It's incredible. I will say, I have never been on a set like this in my life. I've never seen anything like this. You saw those chairs. So it's like every one of those guys and girls has a trailer. It's just insane to look around the room and be like, oh my gosh, I'm in the movie. There's what's-his-face doing that speech. It's just enormous. And yeah, we have seen all of the actors they've already announced in their infamous chair video, and they've confirmed there are more to come. That is not the entire cast. So we already have the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, variants of Avengers, the Wakandans, the people at the TVA, including Loki and Sylvie and Mobius, everybody. Deadpool and Wolverine. There's just a ton of people in this, and there's probably going to be some surprise cameos as well. It is a lot to bring together, especially with very little buildup so far. But as we talked about in depth in our podcast, which you should totally check out, by the way, the real buildup for Avengers Doomsday began in the year 2000 when the first X-Men movie came out. Then we got Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, who we're about to talk about in just a bit. Then the beginning of the MCU. Then the new team of heroes that is going to come together in Avengers Doomsday, like Shang-Chi, Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk, etc. All of this is going to come together. That's the big culmination. So really, with Marvel's new plan, that's the buildup. A culmination of everything that Marvel has been doing since the year 2000, and probably even before, because heck, we got Blade in Deadpool and Wolverine. This is basically taking everything Marvel has done, giving it a nice goodbye, and then starting anew with the reset. And yes, that goodbye might mean that some characters are going to die. But if it's for the sake of good storytelling, and as long as it's not Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, I'm okay with it. And speaking of which, like I mentioned, Tobey Maguire has been spotted in London. And that's where Marvel Studios is basically filming both Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man Brand New Day right now. And the crazy thing is, this is actually a really cool part about the MCU right now. He could be in either movie. He could actually be in both movies. It really is a great time to be a superhero fan, provided they do get this right with these films. So Tobey could be in either, but here's the really interesting part about him possibly being in Spider-Man Brand New Day. There was a report that came out a few months ago on the Hot Mic podcast with Jeff Snyder and John Roca, where they talked about how they heard from what they call a credible source to them that Sadie Sink is going to be playing Mayday Parker. Now, we've heard a lot of reports about who she could be playing. Of course, this is not not confirmed at this point in time. However, they did specifically hear that Sadie Sink's Mayday Parker, if that's who she is playing, is specifically going to be the daughter of Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. And honestly, I'm here for this. I would love to learn more about Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and what happened after Spider-Man 3. We were supposed to get a Spider-Man 4, but we didn't. And Tobey kind of hinted at his story in Spider-Man No Way Home, where he was kind of talking about MJ, where he said they make it work. And I would just love to dive more into that in Spider-Man Brand New Day, or even Avengers Secret Wars. Either way would be awesome. But again, if Sadie Sink is Mayday and Tobey is on set now, this could all be true. And Sadie Sink has not filmed anything yet as far as we know, at least nothing that has been seen or reported by the insiders that have great sources with Marvel Studios or the ones who are on set like Unbox PhD. But Tobey is now in London, which means they could be preparing for his filming, which would probably mean Sadie Sink is about to start filming. So pay attention to that. If we start getting reports about Sadie Sink filming now for Spider-Man Brand New Day while Tobey just arrived, that'll seem a little too coincidental to me, but go ahead and let me know your thoughts about this. Another thing I mentioned in the beginning is Chris Evans. A lot of people have noted that Chris Evans, when he showed up for the Toronto International Film Festival, they've noticed that he is in peak Captain America shape and he's clean shaven, basically looking exactly like Steve Rogers again. And this, of course, is happening right when we've been hearing all about these scenes that Chris Evans has been filming on the set of Avengers Doomsday. Again, a little too coincidental. Another piece of Marvel news that happened over the weekend is that Ryan Reynolds has finally admitted that he was the one who leaked the Deadpool footage. If you didn't know, before Deadpool was greenlit by 20th Century Fox, they had started doing some test screens for it to see if they wanted to do it or not. And then that footage got leaked. And this ultimately led to the project being greenlit due to how the fans reacted to this. Now, people always kind of assumed it was Ryan Reynolds, but he never admitted that he was the one who did it. But this weekend at the Toronto International Film Festival, he finally admitted that he was the one that did it. He said, "Yes, I cheated a little, but I think I was onto something that people would be interested in. And I'm grateful that I listened to that instinct, and I'm grateful that I did the wrong thing in that moment." What's funny is I don't think this comes as a shock to anyone, but that move by Ryan Reynolds did lead to just an insane amount of things. I mean, really, it led to Avengers Doomsday. We got the first two Deadpool movies. Deadpool then joined the MCU. We got Deadpool and Wolverine, which brought Hugh Jackman back. It gave Channing Tatum's Gambit life, and now he is in Avengers Doomsday. It brought X-23 back and into the MCU. It brought freaking Wesley Snipes' Blade back and Elektra as well. So kudos to Ryan Reynolds for going with his gut in that moment. It certainly worked out for him and really all of us. Now, going back to Spider-Man, it looks like a new teaser could be coming our way soon. People have noticed that Sony has currently uploaded 2 private videos to their Spider-Man playlist. Now, I certainly think it's too early for the actual teaser trailer. However, I will say that Sony has been on top of their game with the marketing for Spider-Man Brand New Day, showing us the suit first before we saw it with the leaked set photos and videos, basically giving us 2 teasers for that. They teased the suit, then they fully showed it. Then they released a really cool kind of a BTS video of a filming has begun for Spider-Man Brand New Day that showed us a lot of really cool stuff. And I'm assuming that's pretty much what they have planned for us for at least one of these videos. I will say that it is very interesting that they uploaded 2 videos. I'm thinking there's going to be a tease for something and then the other video will be the actual thing that will show us whatever they teased in the first video. And it very well could be who Sadie Sink is playing, or it could be a tease for the Punisher and the Hulk, which I think is actually probably more likely to happen since we all know that the Punisher and the Hulk are returning at this point. And again, if they're going to get ahead of some possible leaks that are going to come out once they start shooting again, then yeah, it makes sense that they're going to do this teaser again, showing us the big reveals here. And I think that's a smart idea. And that's what I think is probably going to happen here. But go ahead and let me know your thoughts about that and all of this recent news in the comments down below. Does this make you more excited for Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man Brand New Day? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.